I love Hyrule Warriors. I mean, I love most Zelda games, but something about Hyrule Warriors is special to me. Originally releasing on the Wii U on September 26, 2014, Hyrule Warriors was my first Warriors game, and I wasn't very good at it. Like, yeah, I could slash through the endless hordes of enemies easily, but I'd fail at some of the objectives. Combine that with my inability to see games through in 2014, I ended up dropping the game. Then in May of 2018, Nintendo re-released Hyrule Warriors on the Switch, but with it including all the extra content that was in Hyrule Warriors Legends on the 3DS. I don't know how they fit this game onto a 3DS, but I don't have to worry about that now that I can play it on the Switch. And it's with this version that I finally fell in love with this game. I'm not sure if it was the gameplay finally clicking with me, or the fact that at that point I had played most of the 3D Zelda games, but I couldn't get enough of it. The story mode Legends mode honestly isn't anything to write home about, it's mostly a reason as to why all these Zelda characters from different games are fighting both together and against each other, but I did enjoy playing through all the levels. The basic premise is that Ganon was defeated and his soul is split across different points in time, so Ganon has gotten this new character Sia to build an army to get those pieces of his soul across the timeline. However, Sia has become infatuated with Link, which I can't really blame her since this is the best design of Link we've gotten in the series, but she's gone a little overboard with all the statues and paintings of the different versions of him. They even have Wolf Link. But yeah, basically you go through and fight different enemies across the Zelda timeline. And with Definitive Edition, there were even some extra side story missions added in, like a whole epilogue that includes the Wind Waker and even a new side story that showcases a female Link, Linkle. And I don't know if it was that first Breath of the Wild teaser where everyone thought Link could have been a woman, but it felt perfect to finally have a character that is Link as a woman. But again, the story itself isn't anything for me to gush about, but I can gush about all the playable characters. And I love that there are so many characters you can play as. In most Zelda games, you're restricted to only playing as Link, and while there are a handful of Links, there are also so many other characters from so many Zelda games that you can play as. I mean, of course you can play as Zelda, Impa, and Ganondorf, but if I told you you can also play as Princess Ruto, Agatha, Girahim, Midna, and even the Great Fairy. Okay, well the Great Fairy is technically only a weapon for Link, but you're practically playing as her. You can even play as one of my absolute favorite Zelda characters, Ravio. If there's a Zelda character that you like, there's a good chance you can play as them. I mean heck, you can even play as the boat from Wind Waker. Or this freak. I just love the amount of characters you can play as. The devs made so many amazing choices on who should be playable from some of the best Zelda games. They even made young Link use his masks like he should have been able to do in Smash Bros. He can even turn into Fierce Deity Link. There are also a couple of completely brand new characters in this game, such as Lana and Sia. Yeah, their designs are super anime, but I think they can still fit in pretty well with the actual Zelda characters. They've also grown on me a lot. I was honestly a little sad when I finished Legends mode. Something about seeing Sia and Lana become the sages they are meant to be and not having any more story missions just filled me with sadness. Though I know I have a lot more of this game to play, so it's not like I'll never see him again. In fact, there are so many more missions to do with the different adventure maps. These are based off of different Zelda game maps such as Zelda 1, Wind Waker, Zelda 1 again, Wind Waker again, Twilight Princess, Majora's Mask, Link's Awakening, Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, and finally the best 2D Zelda game, Link Between Worlds. I will say that I think the Zelda 1 adventure map is the most well done since all the map tiles are exactly how the actual map is in the game. It also works incredibly well with how you interact with the maps when searching for rewards. On certain maps, you can use a certain item on a certain space to unlock the reward when you complete the map. So on the Wind Waker map, if you give a seagull a screaming pear, you'll unlock the reward. But in the Zelda 1 map, there are so many opportunities to use your actual Zelda 1 knowledge to know which tile spaces will give you a reward. Like knowing where to bomb the wall or which tree to light on fire. Compared to the maps based on 3D games, Zelda 1's adventure map feels like it was made with a lot of love for the original Zelda. I will say that I'm pretty sure I've spent most of my playtime in this game just playing through the different adventure maps. There are so many levels and I love the rewards you can get from them. I always love different costumes in games, especially when they're more than just recolors, and while a lot of them are recolors, you also have some whole new costumes like Skyward Sword Zelda and Link. Skyward Sword Zelda is one of my favorite Zeldas, so I'm glad she's getting some well-needed representation. But with the Definitive Edition, we also got Breath of the Wild costumes for both Zelda and Link. I kinda wish they did one for Impa, but I get why they didn't. And I wish Pyrrha got some representation, but I guess she wasn't really a character when this game was originally being made. Some characters even have different weapons they can use, which I think is so cool. I wish every character had at least 2 weapons to use, but I guess Link really needed 7 weapons. But it's really cool that some characters do get to use different weapons, like Zelda being able to use the Wind Waker, Link using the running boots, or Link riding Epona. All the characters look so good in this game too. I love the designs for Link and Zelda so much. The designers knocked it out of the park with every character they designed. The only ones who look a little out of place to me are the Wind Waker characters, but that's mostly because they just reused those designs from those games. But I also love the Wind Waker design, so it's not that big of a deal. I also really like the CGI cutscenes. The Legends mode isn't filled with too many of them. It's instead narrated with these still images and a narrator talking over them. I'd like more of the CGI cutscenes, but I know it wouldn't be realistic to have a ton of them. In the DLC they did make these 2D designs for the cutscenes, and I think they look really cool too. I also think it's interesting to note that Team Ninja collaborated with Omega Force to develop this game, since I've come to love their Ninja Gaiden games in recent years, but the combat overall is a lot of fun. The most fun part of it is slashing through a ton of enemies, but I even like fighting against other characters. Though I will say I don't really enjoy fighting against the huge bosses. I like that they are included since so many of them are iconic, but they are just annoying to fight against. You can't even do any damage to them until they use a move that you can counter with one of your items, and then you can finally start to hurt them. It's just so slow compared to the other types of enemies. But thankfully there's a mode which makes them a joke, Ganon's Fury, where you get to play as Ganon and smash through all the enemies. You can even easily beat those huge bosses and steal their powers. I will always love extra modes like these in games. I love the music so much in this game. First off, Zelda music is pretty much always good, but it's also metal covers of various Zelda songs, so I was pretty much destined to love the soundtrack. There are so many great tracks that I love to listen to. This whole game feels like it was made as a love letter to the Zelda series. There are so many references that I love to see, like Skulltulas being hidden around the map that you can find, and when you get close to them they even make the same sound they did in Ocarina of Time. No. After Hyrule Warriors, we've gotten a handful of other Warriors spin-offs, but I don't think any of them have reached the peak that this game has. The first Fire Emblem Warriors should have been a slam dunk in terms of a crossover, with that series having 14 entries in 2017, yet only Awakening, Fates, and Shadow Dragon got any good representation. We do have Lyn and Celica, but we don't have any super well-known lords like Roy or Ike. After Hyrule Warriors taking characters from so many games, it's really disappointing that we couldn't get a Fire Emblem game that did something similar. And after this, we haven't really gotten another Warriors spin-off that tried to be a big crossover. Nowadays, they are either sequels, prequels, or an alternate timeline. I feel like something is lost when they aren't these ambitious crossovers that try to show off so much of their respective series. I also don't generally care about the story in a Warriors game, so I don't need it to be good or anything, just some setup as to why all these characters are fighting. I really hope that now that Age of Imprisonment is out, we can get back to these big crossovers with a basic story. I'd love to see a Xenoblade Warriors game like this that has all 4 of the games well represented. I'd especially love it if we can get some Saga characters and maybe even a Gears character, though I doubt it. Even a Final Fantasy Warriors kind of like Dissidia would be cool. But until we get another crossover Warriors game, I guess I still have Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition to play for another 300 hours.